Hello everyone and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Thursday, July 6, 2017. I am Michael Schwahn.
And now I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember, everybody, that you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. It's how we actually fund the show and keep it going. Otherwise, if you'd like to catch up with us live, the show is always live stream on Facebook Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time. That's 7 p.m. if you're in the West and 10 p.m. if you are in the East of America, I guess I should clarify. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It was a pretty easy day. Didn't have to do very much at work. Actually, I did quite a bit at work. I worked like 24, 25 case files within the span of like 3 or 4 hours. And then I went to the front counter and got some training in, so that was good. It was pretty slow, pretty easy. You know, I enjoyed it. It was very surprising. I'm surprised it was this slow after 4th of July, but you know, whatever.
Sure.
So.
Well, I can tell you, thankfully for us, that the news was not very slow after the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. It's also sunny as fuck outside, so I'm probably gonna go hang out. Hi, Mom.
It's kind of warm. It's kind of warm. I'm not gonna lie. As I wear a black long sleeve shirt. I mean.
Yeah, no, I have a black T-shirt underneath this long sleeve shirt, so I'm gonna put on some shorts and like something just not a tank top because I'm really gangly and it's kind of embarrassing. Something like a lighter T-shirt. You know.
I'm gonna hide indoors and play video games.
I'm gonna go outside, probably longboard a bit. Break my wrists again.
Good plan. That's a good plan.
Do surgery. Sing more Queen.
I mean, if you want to.
That's what I did last time.
I'm excited. You know what I get to do tomorrow?
What?
I get to move into my new office.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
That's real fucking neato.
I'm gonna have my own office with a window and a door that I can close and tell people to go the fuck away.
That's good.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had that. Eventually, I'll move out of customer service, but you know, whatever.
You actually have a lot of really awesome opportunities where you are.
I do.
There's tons of jobs for the state that are only offered to people who are already working for the court system.
Usually, though, you either have to wait for someone to get sacked, to quit, or to die.
I don't know, man, because like I look for jobs all the time, and I see tons of jobs that are like U.S. court employee, state court employees only.
That's because a lot of people don't like their job.
Quit, sack, or die.
See, the problem is, right, is a lot of people still have the will to live. See, I've lost that years ago.
Sure.
So I'm perfect for state jobs.
Well, and I mean,
maybe even. How old am I? 23? Maybe decades ago?
Maybe. Well, and there's something to be said about the gains that you can get through a state job. I mean, like, you're 23 and you're already accruing retirement. Like, you can actually retire, Nathan. Well,
I know. It's really surprising. I hope I don't get sacked.
Like, you have full benefits. You have a retirement that's building for you. Like, you will be able to technically retire from the state when you're, like, 45. Mm-hmm. How you feel about that?
It feels real nice because I'm going to take that retirement. I'm going to blow it.
Well,
blow strippers.
Don't do that. That sounds like a good idea today. I will be curious to know what the Nathan in 22 years says.
Probably not much different.
You sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of things.
I've always been a child.
Yeah, but I mean, you're 23, I'm 24. A lot can change in 20 years.
Maybe. I don't know. Not much has changed in the last 20 years for me.
Well, yeah, that's not true.
Still shit my pants.
Well, oh, yeah, okay, sure.
10.
Rapper Chainz turns drugs den into HIV clinic.
What? This is submitted by Serial 007 to Uplifting News.
This is a little bit leading. I'll say that first. It is a trap house.
Which is essentially a drugs den.
Yeah, but it's one that he built himself for a music video.
That doesn't stop it from being less of a trap house.
Well, and then after he was done with the music video, it was used as a church and a community center.
That makes it a bit less of a trap house.
Yeah, I'm like, just because you call it a trap house, and it's a bright pink house with the word trap painted on it, doesn't necessarily, yeah, right, doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually a drug den.
Oh, why can't I live in a bright pink house that says trap on it?
I mean, you could.
That's amazing. That's what I'll save my retirement for, to purchase a bright pink house that says trap on it. Because it's a trap.
But yeah, so he's going to take that house and he's going to turn it into an HIV clinic where people are welcome to get tested just to know their status, and it's all going to be funded by him. So it's not...
That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm really happy rappers are doing cool shit like that. Like Akon funded like a fucking village over in Africa.
Yeah. So did Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. Isn't that fucking crazy?
So thank you, 2 Chainz. You continue to do cool stuff. Keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So in what might be cool stuff to some people and absolute heresy to others,
9.
Oregon approves law that mandates that insurance company provide coverage for abortion.
This is submitted by Relevant Life to TUX Chromosomes.
As in terms of a surface statement, yeah, that's it. Oregon, it was approved yesterday by lawmakers and goes to their governor's desk. If the governor signs it, then it goes into law, and it basically says that they have to approve abortion for almost any reason. Like, it's not like, oh, it was medical, oh, it was rape. It was like, I want an abortion, and they go, cool, your insurance has to cover it.
Okay. That's fucking... I like that.
They even, in the language of the law, include situations such as sex selective and late-term abortions. So it's like, oh, it's a girl, I don't want it. Or, you know, it's really late in the term, I still don't want it.
Those ones I'm kind of a little bit more iffy on, but, you know, whatever, it's your body.
Well, it's mostly just like, if you want an abortion, that should be just the question alone.
I can agree with that. I don't know.
Like, well, here's an example for like late term that I could see is like especially if like you get pregnant and things are going well, and then whoever the father is like turns out to be like a horrible murderer or something like that. That will be like, for me, that'd be a hard thing to look past in terms of like when I see my child.
I don't know. That's still half you, man.
I know.
I say love all children equally, no matter who their parents are.
Yeah,
but
saying that and doing it are very different things.
I feel like I could do that, though.
You could. That's also why you worked at the Boys and Girls Club, and I work for an unfeeling state organization.
Oh, man. I fucking loved all of those kids, even those assholes.
But especially, like, it's interesting how, like, the United States is separating itself out. Like, Texas just passed laws with extremely harsh abortion limits on it, whereas Oregon's like, go nuts, go whatever, enjoy, be free.
We're very liberal.
Kirk in the chat room says the law is so specific to defend it against the oncoming lawsuits. They wanted to avoid any gray area. Yeah, they don't want the law to be exploitable.
Josh, I am a kinder person than you. No offense.
Yeah, you're a kinder person than me as well. I'm a outright asshole sometimes, whereas you're bad at being an asshole.
Yeah, I'm very bad at being an asshole. It's unfortunate. I can be an asshole, though.
8.
The opioid epidemic is so bad that
LeBron James.
Librarians are learning how to treat overdoses.
God damn it. This is submitted by Bloody Lip Service to our books.
So yeah, it has become so bad that libraries are now being provided with doses of Narcan and training the librarians and the library aides and staff on how to deliver Narcan because so many people are overdosing on opioids.
Because it's also free to go to libraries and hang out all day.
Yep.
So they'll go there, fucking head into the bathroom, shoot up like crazy, or just hide in between books. I've watched plenty of videos showcasing what kind of things you can do in a library without anyone finding out.
Are you looking at public porn, Nathan?
What?
Keep in mind that I also know what you're talking about by saying that alone.
I mean, voyeurism's pretty sick, but all things aside.
So this makes me sad.
Yeah, are you gonna press the button?
Oh yeah.
You make me sad.
Except it's not just you; it's all of you. You all made.
Right. I watched that last night on VHS. That shit was awesome.
Yeah, because you found the Holy Grail.
Yeah, it was great. It's really unfortunate because like libraries are not the place to go for that. I feel like you should maybe have a very, very safe place that you can go. Maybe like some kind of rehabilitation place that will give you narcotics so that you can wane off of them over time.
Well, also, like, isn't there an organization or a country or something that's working on implementing those safe spaces to do the drugs?
I think Canada was doing that. I know in like Amsterdam you can do shit like that.
Because it was too difficult to prevent people, so they know that people are going to do drugs, so they want to provide them a safe space to do them, so that if something does go wrong, they can at least have someone there rather than people, hiding out.
Yeah, or shooting up incorrectly, hitting a vein wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched fucking Requiem for a Dream. I've seen what happens to your arm and shit. That shit's gross.
So it'll be interesting, and like, as sad as it is to say that librarians are being provided with doses of Narcan so that they can help treat people that OD, at least we are at a point in time on this issue where we're not just like trying to throw these people in jail, and we're trying to provide preventative things to save these people's lives in public areas.
Right. I think that's really showing how far we're progressing when it comes to drug policies.
Tim in the chat room says there are also northwestern United States that have these safe spaces for drugs.
Yeah, and Dan, you are correct. They Canada does do that.
So, either way, hopefully more of these are like. Do police have a dose on them?
I feel like they should. If not, most ambulances will have it.
Yeah, I knew that one. I know that most EMTs have
firefighters
it.
Will probably have it too.
Like, it's unfortunate, but I think that the more places that we have these things readily available, the better, just to try to save people's lives.
We should put them really fucking almost everywhere. Restaurants should be able to have them because a lot of people will go into like subway bathrooms and shoot up.
Tim's confirming that police carry doses of Narcan. Cool.
Gas stations. Any place that has a defibrillator should also have Narcan.
Basically, should we just start like just including it in like first aid kits?
Fuck, our opioid problem's so bad, probably.
Luckily, I have not ran into that at this time, but I'm sure it'll happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Trump in Poland says nobody really knows who's meddled in the United States election.
Oh, man. Here we go. This is submitted by PK Vam to Our Politics.
Now, so this article is actually very vast because it just talks about the G20 Summit and a lot of the things that have happened leading up to it, including that over 20,000 protesters showed up today, Thursday, in protest of a lot of Trump and other individuals that are going to be attending the G20 Summit, including like Vladimir Putin and Erdogan from Turkey. We've already had multiple speeches going out from Trump himself about trying to. He actually. So he is visiting Vladimir Putin tomorrow. He is going to go and talk to Vladimir Putin tomorrow. And today, in a speech, he called out Moscow and told them to halt their destabilizing activities and to
in the Ukraine, yeah,
and to end its support for hostile regimes in Iran and Syria.
I think that's fucking crazy.
Like, good on you, Trump.
I didn't expect that coming from him.
But
that's great.
Yeah, if you like. Whether he actually like does anything with putting his foot down, the fact that he did it at all against Russia, I'm like, hey, good job, guy. You're not a spineless twat.
Yeah.
Putin also came out to say that he is willing and wanting to work with Germany. And again, because he says it every time he releases any type of public statement, that he would like to see the sanctions put against Russia to be lifted. Poland doesn't like Poland doesn't like Germany. And then in a conversation that Trump had, he said that he thinks that it was Russia, but there could have been other people involved with the meddling in the United States election. Now, the thing is, this is pretty contrary to what American intelligence agencies have said, who have been like, no, it was Russia. We have all the evidence that says it was Russia, and we even have evidence that says Mr. Putin told them to do so. But it's Trump. And I understand that he likes to keep as many doors open as he can, so he's saying that nobody really knows because if we knew for sure, I feel like, maybe something would be happening, I think is his logic. I don't know, but he said that he doesn't really know who interfered in the United States election, and he wouldn't want to talk about it anyway, because that's what got him elected.
Maybe if he went to his intelligence meetings.
He goes to one a week now, right?
I think so.
I mean,
which is better than nothing.
Well, because I remember originally he was like, "I'm not going to go to any of these. I'm the smartest man on the entire planet." And it was like, okay, maybe I do need these intelligence meetings. And Obama was like, "Yeah, I went to one every day." And, like, come on.
That's crazy. He went to one every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important to be in the know, so
well,
I feel like more
for president
should be like that.
Well, we'll see. Trump's still going. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to be hearing we've already kind of heard the first horn blows of the 2020 election, which baffles me, people. Baffles me. That is so far in the future. Can we focus on today and not tomorrow? Like, there is things that can be done today.
Let's work on now.
Yes, please. Yeah. Kirk says there's a reason presidents age horribly. Yeah, like, I would not want that job. Because, like, it has to be I think it is one of the most stressful positions in the world.
You're running a fucking country.
Well, and the other thing is I know that there are things that the president deals with and is told and is informed of and talked about that we never hear about that are just like, oh, we could all die tomorrow.
Aliens, man. Aliens, I'm telling you.
Well, maybe.
6.
Except I don't think Trump could keep it a fucking secret if there were aliens.
That's because they don't tell him.
18 states sue Betsy DeVos over delay of student loan protections. Oh, Betsy. Whatever. Fuck her.
This was submitted by Alonzi 1221 to Our Politics.
So under the Obama administration, they had put forth an act that was supposed to protect federal student loan borrowers that were defrauded by their schools. I mean, there are schools that you would, accept a bunch of student loans and then shut down and just run off with the money. And there are schools that would take money because they were for-profit schools and then they would just disperse. There were schools that accept a lot of money and they hadn't filed the paperwork to actually be an accredited college, so they wouldn't their degrees were worthless. Like, it didn't actually count for anything. And so there were litigation put forward to protect people from that so that they could, claim fraudulent debt and it would be wiped away from them so they wouldn't owe money to people that screwed them over. Kind of like our friend Zach in the chat room, actually. He's in a very similar situation. And right now, Betsy DeVos has postponed that. It was supposed to go live on July 1st and is now currently postponed because of a case being brought forward by an organization that represents for-profit universities and colleges out of California.
Of course.
So 18 states as well as several consumer groups have now sued Betsy DeVos.
Good. No, that's great.
Currently,
this is unacceptable.
Well, and here's one of the things that irks me the most about politics, right? Mm-hmm. Is that more than anything else, the thing that I notice in politics is the overwhelming drive to try to prevent or undo what the people before you have done.
It's so fucking asinine and stupid.
It's a waste of time.
It is.
Like, there is so much effort put into undoing anything that the Obama administration does. And I guarantee you, and it'll annoy me then, that as soon as Trump isn't president anymore, the next president and the next administration will put in a ton of work trying to undo anything he did. And it's like, seriously, like, it also baffles me. And I understand that you don't want to have, like, permanent laws, I guess. But, like, how something can be already signed off on literally less than a year ago and is like, yeah, we're going to go live. And then some people change over and they're like, nope, turning that off. We're not going to do that anymore because we're in charge now. Like, I don't understand sometimes.
But, I mean, that's what's going to happen to prevent some of the ecological things that Trump is pushing right now. Because, like, if he gets out of office in 2020, then we're probably going to go back onto the Paris Agreement.
Well, so many cities in the United States and individual states of the United States are still holding to the Paris Agreement that I don't think it really matters. One way or another, whether it's the official capacity of POTUS or not, the United States is going to do its best to honor the Paris Agreement.
Right. But Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So, but it just, I mean, while yes, there is the potential of like, everything is also always subjective, right? I mean, because like what we think is good or bad, you know, other people may think the exact opposite. It's the reason that we have such a very visceral two-party system, because they almost always disagree with each other on every facet. But the problem is like, while you're like, yeah, that keeps the stuff that we think is bad out, it normally also keeps out the good stuff. And on top of that, it means that nothing ever happens. Like, at a certain point, it's why Trump did have a lot of support, because he's like, I will fucking do shit. You might not like it, but I'm going to do it. And people are like, yeah, let's see someone do something, because Obama didn't do shit, right? Even though the fucking Congress wouldn't let him do anything. But he didn't do shit.
I mean, that's a lot of Congresses in general anyways. That's what's happening in Trump, too. No one's letting him really do anything.
Tim in the chat room says he's pretty sure hospitals can't get government funding if they are for-profit. Students attending for-profit universities shouldn't be able to acquire federal assistance to attend them. Well, I think one of the other inherent problems is just the overwhelming cost for extended learning now. Like, the cost of colleges and universities, whether they're for-profit or not, are ridiculous. Like,
whether they actually are, like
I
feel like a lot of the tuition money is padding some people's pockets.
Well, the other thing is that so much of it is, how do I describe it? Like, it's like trying to guarantee a level of income with a very large amount of debt. So the thing is like, instead of charging everyone a minimum amount that we hope that they can pay, we will charge everyone an extreme amount, and whatever we get out of them, then we can guarantee to keep getting money out of them for several years to make sure the money's still rolling. Because, like, I mean, my mom's original student loan was $3,000. And then over the years and the people that have bought it and the interest rate, it's at like $30,000 now. Mom has paid off the original principal to her loan like 7 times over. She's literally just paying the interest that is then accumulating interest on top of the interest.
That is literally the fucking stupidest shit.
Right? So, I mean, a lot of it is because, you know, it is $500 for a textbook. And, like, we're technically lucky that UAA is like $500 to $1,000 a course. But most other places are double, triple, even quadruple that, or if not more. And the overwhelming cost of extended tuition, I mean, these debts wouldn't be as big of a deal if you only owed $3,000. Like, most people could figure out, I could probably pay off $3,000 in 2 years, but it's like, well, your debt's $130,000, and it's like, I can't pay that. Like,
I'm never going to be able to pay that.
Like, just straight up not. Especially when so often in the United States, you'll go to a degree for one thing and then never actually get to work in that field.
Mm-hmm. I just want to point out that colleges aren't everything.
Well,
right? You can go to a vocational school and get paid just as much.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes just putting in the work can get you through it as well. I don't have college. I have taken a single college course, and that was a creative writing course that literally counts towards nothing. And I took it because I wanted to and because it was fun. And I'm a paralegal now. And normally, you need a criminal justice degree to get a paralegal's position. But I've put in my time and did the work and proved my worth, and that got me a paralegal's job without a degree.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you don't need it. It helps in a lot of facets, but just be careful with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We were on that for a while. Let's move on to something else now, shall we?
5.
The Asian stars of Hawaii Five-0 quit the show after CBS refused to pay them as much as their white co-workers.
This was submitted by Marcus Profundus to our television.
Yeah, so I didn't even know the show was still going. Hawaii Five-0 is still going, apparently. And the Asian stars of that show, they are no longer going to be on the show because they were getting offered pay that was about 10 to 15% less than the white folk on the show. And so it wasn't a matter of it wasn't enough money. I mean, they are also along the same lines that Jennifer Lawrence argued of that. I don't care about the pay gap when it comes to Hollywood because I'm already overpaid. I make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, they were getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode of Hawaii Five-0. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't about the money. It was about the principle. Like, they're like, we'll be fine. We make lots of money. It's just about making the statement that we should be given equal pay. I mean,
they should.
And there was a similar argument recently regarding Wonder Woman, and that ended up being completely worthless.
Yeah, it was the Superman Wonder Woman thing.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I hope that didn't fuck up my headphones.
So here's the thing that, like, when you come to this, I wonder how their pay is decided. Because, like, for instance, if I'm looking at a cast and I have Robert Downey Jr. and the dude that is playing Black Panther. Note that I can't even remember his name.
Wow.
Okay? And the thing is that you could say, oh, man, Robert Downey Jr. got paid $10 million for this movie and Black Panther got paid $1 million. There's a gap in the amount of pay they get because one's black and one's white. But the
Chadwick Boseman.
What?
Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, okay. The real difference in there is that Robert Downey Jr. is a goddamn star that brings in people. Like, people will go to watch a Robert Downey Jr. movie purely because he's in it. Like, and so I know that a lot of times the pay is based off of the weight of the actor or actress. And I wonder how that is presented in terms of Hawaii Five-0. I've not watched the show. I have no idea who in any form is more or less in the spotlight, and I'm sure that the producers for the show have numbers of who is the popular or non-popular characters, right?
Right.
I mean, especially because they're walking away and CBS wouldn't offer them more money, it shows me that CBS, like, they were not valuable enough characters to keep.
Either that or they're just going to get different people to fill their gap.
I don't feel like studios do that as much anymore.
Don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
They'll just write their characters off and find new characters.
Well, yeah, and I feel like that's what happens more often than not now, is they just replace them. Rather than, like, putting someone else in that same character spot that just, you know, with a different actor, they're like, they moved or died or whatever.
But yeah, no, that guy played, like, one of the two, like, main characters.
Did he?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I haven't seen it, so.
I haven't watched much, but I've seen a bit, because my parents and grandparents like that show.
Sure.
4,
Kremlin fears meddling as Russian youth say enough of Putin.
This was submitted by Benny Kamoli to Our World News. I don't know.
Russia has an election coming up, and as they have their election coming up, the unrest against their current sitting president, Vladimir Putin, continues to rise.
Mm-hmm.
Much like in our own country, the more aged people are still very much in support of Vladimir Putin, where all of the dirty young liberals would like to see a change of administration.
Interesting. I wonder who's gonna win by unanimous vote.
Well, there's also the problem that someone has to run against Putin, and someone that doesn't get killed. And currently, the person that's being called on is Mr. Alexei Navalny. Is that how you pronounce his name? Alexei Navalny. Yeah. So, Alexei.
Yeah.
Alexei Navalny. He's the one that a lot of people are calling to. That the other side of the fence is calling to replace Putin, but he's also continuously getting thrown in jail because he's always speaking out against Putin in a very public fashion.
Mm-hmm. Either thrown in jail or murdered.
Tim says that he would bet a nickel that Putin stays, and I'm not taking that bet.
I don't have a nickel to bet.
Well, I do have a nickel, and I don't want to lose that nickel.
Hey, wait a second.
Oh, man. You actually have a physical nickel.
Yeah.
But you better hold on to that and not take that bet because you'll lose.
Nope, Timothy, you got it.
Like,
I mean, I know I'm gonna lose, but this is gonna be the first time I bet a nickel over anything.
50-1, Putin wins.
What's 50% of? Okay, so it's $3 or 3 cents or no, $2.50, or 2.5 cents, right?
What?
No, I got the odds wrong. Nope, I'm fucking retarded. Just continue.
What are you talking about?
I'm dumb. That's what. Continue.
Okay, like if you bet 50-1 with a nickel and you win, you would get 0.1 cents. You get a tenth of a cent.
Right.
That's your winnings. Congratulations, sir. What are you going to do? Straight to Disneyland?
Yes. I've never been there.
Tim, it's going to cost you 50 cents to mail that nickel. But wait, Nathan, what are you going to do?
Fucking pay that 50 cents and mail that nickel to that motherfucker.
Make sure you sign it before you send it out.
Sign the nickel?
Yeah, man. Tim won that nickel fair and square.
Sure.
3,
France will ban all petrol and diesel vehicles by 2040.
This was submitted by Mavia to Our Technology.
This is not completely accurate. They're going to first be starting out by banning the sale of all petrol and diesel vehicles by 2040 and looking to phase them out entirely shortly afterwards, including even saying that they will be holding a premium so they can help poorer households swap their polluting vehicles for clean alternatives.
That's awesome.
Yep, they're also apparently not the first country that has put forth this notion. Netherlands and Norway want to get rid of petrol and diesel vehicles by 2025, and Germany and India are looking to achieve it by 2030.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Continue bettering the world.
It's a lot of places right now. Let's get on that, guys.
We need to achieve something similar here. The only problem here is we're so spread out. Like I mentioned, the reason that I don't own an electric vehicle is because I literally the maximum range on them at tops is like 300 miles, which doesn't get you to Fairbanks.
There's a gas station there. They just need electricity,
and they need it to charge quickly.
Yeah.
That's the other big the big leap.
Yeah.
Kirk says, "Wait, Norway? Apparently, I don't know." That's what this article says. I mean, it's independent.co.uk. They're relatively reliable. The other thing that's also, they also have the advantage, though, that in terms of, France and Germany and stuff like that, stuff's a lot closer together.
Sure.
I mean, you can literally, in the time it takes us to get to Fairbanks, you could have driven through, 4 countries in Europe.
Right.
So.
There's a lot of really small countries. Luxembourg shouldn't count as a country, really.
But, I mean, once they do get to the point where they have either a higher range or charge faster, then we'll probably see them be quickly grabbed up in America. Especially if more car companies just start to really push them as their product.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to see this. I want to see this forward. I want to see electric cars, and then I want to see self-driving electric cars, and then I want to see self-driving electric cars that fucking fly.
I don't know if we'll ever actually have flying vehicles, but
I think we would.
We'll probably get self-driving vehicles before electric vehicles are everywhere, and then they'll just put the self-driving technology onto
All right,
the
so
electric
stay with
cars.
me, right?
Okay.
We put super powerful magnets underneath the ground. And then we put the same kind of magnets in our cars so that they are floating constantly. And then we push them in a direction.
So you just want floating cars, not flying ones.
It's close enough.
It'll satisfy you?
Yeah.
Kirk also asked for better infrastructure for public transportation. There was also a recent discussion about self-driving cars that they would remove the need for people to own vehicles. Of that, instead of owning a vehicle, you would just sign up to a service that there's no driver involved. You just go, I need picked up every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock to take me to work. And a fucking self-driving car that has nobody in it will pull up and you get in and it'll take you to work and drop you off and then it'll go do something else. The other thing is that they have found that traffic and transportation in general is vastly improved with self-driving vehicles. If you even get 10% of the road to be taken up with self-driving cars, traffic gets better because the self-driving vehicles, one, are better at avoiding any issues that cause traffic. They also, because they respond immediately to any stops and goes, they prevent snaking through the crowded roadways. And also they have technology that says, oh, this road is very crowded. The self-driving vehicles will automatically get off and take alternate routes because they'll be faster, which takes cars off of the congested roadways, which means that those roadways will move quicker.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are purely beneficial, unless you consider people no longer knowing how to drive to be a detriment, but most of us suck at it, so.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it should be mandatory. You should learn how to drive in case your auto drive fails.
Well, I mean, I see, people say that, but then, I I don't believe that the self-driving would fail that often. Like, not any more than
Right.
the risk of, like, I don't know, your transmission going out and your car just going wee, or the power steering dying, or, you know, your brakes failing,
But
or
it's
anything
an
like that.
important skill to learn sometimes, you know?
But if we have the trust in our vehicle to just drive, like, if we're piloting it and we have the trust of the vehicle to keep running, you should have that same trust in the mechanics that have the car drive itself.
I don't know, man.
Kirk, you say driving should still be a required skill. It's not a required skill now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not mandatory. I agree with Tim, though. He says, I think it should be mandatory for people to retake their licensure test. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think you should have to retake your test like every 5 years. Because, like, once you get a license, they're like, cool, you're good forever. Just, you know, come in and pay us your $30 and we'll just give you a new one once it expires. Which baffles my mind. Like, one, I'm amazed how some of these people got licenses in the first place. And two, how do you ever keep them? And if you had to be retested, there's no way you would pass.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like it's going to be me.
You don't even have a license, buddy.
I said that's why it's going to be me.
Oh, very well then.
2,
Germany dismantles huge ring of 87,000 members involved in child abuse.
This was submitted by Kevin King to Our World News.
So there is a dark website called Elysium that had 87,000 members where they traded child pornography as well as arranged meeting to sexually abuse children. Prosecutors in Germany have found out who runs it. The owner, the manager, as well as several of the admin have been collected up and arrested, and they are working on making their way through the member list.
Good. Fucking disgusting perverts.
Yeah.
Did you hear that there's talks about banning... Okay, so there was talks about when sex robots first coming out that they could be used for people who have problems with sexual like pedophilia and shit like that.
Well,
they can use those robots as therapy. But now they're talking about banning child sex robots just because, you know, out of principle.
Well, and so funny thing, right, is I saw an article about that or heard about or something a few days ago about someone who got arrested because they ordered a sex doll, and the sex doll was quite young in appearance.
Right.
And here's the thing, though. Now, like, there are some people who do have that sickness, and, you know, and I do consider it a sickness. They are fucking crazy in the mind that they have sexual attraction towards little kids, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, fuck those people. And there also is the difference between child molesters and pedophiles. Pedophiles are the people that have those thoughts and don't act on them. Child molesters are the people that actually molested the fucking children and need to burn in the deepest pits of hell for eternity. And the other people, I just feel bad for you, want you to stay away from my children, you should get help. Now, the thing is that you were talking about how some places are talking about making those dolls illegal because it allows them to act on those urges without actually affecting a physical person. Here's the thing, though, is that under what parameters do you make that illegal? Because I doubt they will, like, you can't make, well, I mean, I guess you technically could, but you wouldn't make just sex toys in general illegal. And sex dolls, whether it's the blow-up ones or the new fancy robot ones we're getting from Japan. But speaking from personal whatever, I like small women. Like, I like girls that are, like, you know, like under 5'4" and rather petite. And the gentleman that got arrested, the doll that he ordered was like 4'11", in which I dated a girl in high school who was 4'10.5" or something like that. And she still is that short. And so, like, if it's...
That is, like, just above legal dwarf size.
Right, but... Like, do you just ban it purely based on size? And then you're like, if someone who has that preference, are they just shit out of luck when it comes to these products because their preference is smaller?
Well, does it fall under the same rules that that children displayed in hentai have? Because they can that's totally legal in America because they're not real.
I don't know. And that's
at least they're also, I think it's legal in Japan.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's the confusing thing, right? Mm-hmm. Is like, what lines do you draw? And if you do want to try and prevent people of that mental illness, whatever you want to call it, to you want to prevent them from being able to even enact those thoughts out on a fake person. How do you do that without alienating tons of other people?
And Kirk has a point. If there's no victim, is there a crime?
I suppose not.
I don't know.
I don't know. I would have to do research to see if there's anyone that because you can make some really realistic pictures in Photoshop.
I guess there wouldn't be a victim until we give robots rights.
Well, that's an entirely different conversation.
And a conversation that's been around for fucking ever.
I mean, here's a way that I would equate it, right? Like, it is completely legal for you to say, I fucking hate the president and I wish he would die. Okay?
Right.
That is completely legal. And in that same vein, now, and we even have had people enact violence upon images of the presidents. Whether it was Obama or Trump. I mean, technically what Kathy Griffin did wasn't illegal. It was unsavory as shit, and she's gotten punished for it in terms of her entire career. But it wasn't illegal by any means. So, and equate that then to this subject that we're talking about. Is it wrong?
Would you equate Kathy Griffin to having a sickness?
I'd say
a mental disability, a mental problem? For the way she displayed her art?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I hadn't thought that deep into it. And that's a good point. Kirk in the chat room says our culture defines it as wrong. And yeah, it is wrong along any lines, regardless of which topic we're talking about, whether we're talking about the presidential thing or we're talking about these child dolls things. Yeah, it's wrong. But is it actually breaking any laws or rules? And also Kirk points out that it's a culture thing because in other cultures in another time, you were expected to, be in your job and married by 12.
Fucking insane.
People were completing their apprentice
Well, I mean, at that point, though,
stuff.
everyone was dying a lot younger.
So actually, that's actually a believed falsity.
Is it?
Yeah, the reason that lifespans were not that much lower. They were 65, 70 instead of the 85 we have now. The reason that the average lifespan was so much lower is because there was a lot of people that died between the ages of 1 and 3, which drastically reduces the average.
Sure.
Once you survived being a infant and a toddler,
an infant, yeah,
then you were good to go. You would make it to 55, 60, even 70 years old. Whereas but because the average lifespan based on how many people died, when they were 1 year old, it made the average lifespan 40.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we've been on this topic for a while. Let's move on to something else. As soon as my computer will let me do anything. It's all right, computer. I love and hate you too.
1.
St. Louis will drop the minimum wage from $10 to $7.70.
50 cents? Oh, 70 cents. Never mind. This is submitted by South Jersey boys to our news.
The fight for 15 is not going so well in some places, and one place that is not going well is Missouri, specifically St. Louis, which they just last year, speaking of this whole conversation we just had about the whole, people undoing other people's work thing, last year they approved the minimum wage to be raised. At July 1st, it went up to $10, and it was supposed to go up to $11 in January. There is now already a call, and they are putting forth the law to have it reduced back down to $7.70, as there has been rising complaints from small businesses that they are no longer able to survive under the $10 an hour threshold.
Are they accurate?
Well, the only example they give in this article is about a family-owned restaurant in downtown St. Louis. They said that with the rising sales tax and meat prices, a minimum wage hike to $10 an hour made it expensive to stay open. So he's had to cut back from being open from 5 days to 2 days a week for lunch. His hamburgers are smaller, his entrees are pricier, which means that he is getting less customers. Here's the thing that I see, though. let's say you have, let's say there's 5 employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll say they work 40 hours a week, okay? So you have 5 employees working 40 hours a week, so that's 200 hours that are going out. An extra $2 an hour to each of them is $400. That's it. That's all. And so that also means in a month, you're going through like $1,600, $1,700, depending. Like, if your bottom line is that close, you have other problems than paying your employees an extra $2.
That's, you need to be looking at different vendors. You need to be, I don't know, fixing some other problems in your store.
Like, if you're a business and you are an established business, like when you first start out, I understand things can be awkward and rocky trying to figure out how everything works. But if your profit and your bottom line is demolished by an extra $1,500 a month going out the door to pay your employees, you have other problems. And like they said, rising sales taxes and meat prices. I don't know what those numbers are, and they're not presented here. But how imposing are those on your numbers?
Yeah, I know. Why not cut meat prices? You know.
Well, I mean, because the minimum wage went up. Got to pay those butchers somehow.
Fair.
So yeah, it's going to be going back down to $7.70 an hour. Yeah. Tim says that's a huge of an increase in minimum wage in a short amount of time that does not allow the market, suppliers, customers, insurance, is very detrimental for small and large businesses. It depends on what level of large business you're talking about. Like if you're talking about like Walmart, no, they literally, they don't have any problems regardless of what happens with minimum wage. They'd like you to believe they do, but they don't. Small businesses, sure. But if you, I hope you're doing well enough to pay your employees more than minimum wage anyway. Kirk says, think about it in reverse. If you go from making $2,000 a month to $1,600 a month, like if you're the business owner, like, I mean, I don't like when you're a business owner, one, like you should pay yourself a regular wage, in my opinion. And two, like, I mean, again, if your line is that close, you should look at other things. Tim says, look at the trend of minimum wage over the last 50 years and then look at the trend of everyday goods in the past 50 years. Yeah, but I mean, also at the same, like, the cost of how to phrase this. Like, there were the people, like, we've all heard the stories of, I worked a part-time job, put myself through college, and was able to, you know, own a house and buy a car by the age of 20. That's no longer possible. Because, like, while the cost of goods might not have followed the trend of minimum wage, I don't, like, the things about, like larger expenses, the things that have people in debt, things like rent and cars and things like that, they are significantly more expensive in terms of the ratio than they were 50 years ago. Like, they are not the same anymore. And you can also look at other services that aren't like purchasing food. Like, look at what the price of movies has done in the last 50 years. My mom talks about going to the movies, and she remembers when a cost of a movie ticket went from 10 cents to a quarter. And now the cost of a movie ticket is normally around like $10 minimum.
To 16 if you want to go to those nice ones.
Like, it went from, like, and, you know, back then, minimum wage was, like, $1.15. So, to go to a movie was, like, 10, maybe 25% of your hourly paycheck, of your hourly pay. Whereas now, if you're making $7.70 an hour, you have to work 2 hours just to go see a movie.
Which is, in and of itself, 2 hours. Yeah. Maybe.
Like, while the cost of a loaf of bread might have went from $1 to $3, the cost of everything else has not followed the same trend whatsoever. Andrew in
inflation's a bitch, you know.
Andrew in the chat room says, I think the large corporations employ the vast majority of low-end workers and will just cut jobs to keep the bottom line. Probably. I mean, they care more about their investors and their stockholders than they necessarily do about their actual lower-end employees. which is sad because like they've done the research to show that Walmart could pay all of their employees $15 an hour and give them life insurance if they raised the price of everything in their store by 1 penny. Because of how much they sell, if they increase the price of everything by 1 cent, then they'd be able to offer significantly better pay and benefits to their employees. Tim says it is linear. You can't just increase something like minimum wage by 30% overnight without expecting things like what happened to the restaurant you mentioned earlier to occur. Well, and that's why places like Seattle that have approved the fight for $15 to go to $15 is not happening overnight. They're not going to hit $15 to like 2020 or something like that. Like it's going up like $1 a year.
That's what happened to us too. We were going up like $1 a year.
Yeah. So,
except for like the first year, it went like from $7.75 to $9.75 or something like that.
Well, and that's what happened here in St. Louis. It did the initial $2 jump, and you know, any change is going to shock people. People don't like change, and people normally aren't prepared for it. And while I feel like if this business that is being referenced in this article is having that many problems, there should be other things that you should look at and address. Because $7.70 is not enough for anyone really at all anymore. I mean, I'm sure at some point we've all seen the map of how many hours you would have to work at minimum wage just to afford an apartment.
Subsidies. So I'm telling you.
Universal basic income. How about that?
There you go.
Because that's a solution. That's not really a solution either.
It's like a Band-Aid.
Yep, most of it's just Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Because none of us actually know what we're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Look at me! Nathan, what'd you care about in the last 24 hours?
Well, I'll tell you what. Two things.
I'm listening. I'm going to drink this coffee and this water, and I'm going to listen.
One, Doomfist was announced, and he's already on PTR.
For Overwatch, yeah, I heard about that.
And the fucking animation was like an anime, and it was fucking sick. It showed Doomfist fighting, let's see, what was he fighting? He was fighting Tracer, Winston, and Genji, and he fucked them all up. It was awesome. And then, the other thing I cared about today is that tomorrow, Castlevania releases, so I know what I'm going to be doing after D&D.
Watching Castlevania?
Yeah. Definitely watch Castlevania. That's just fucking... Oh, God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, cool. Tell me if it's good or not. If it's good, I'll probably watch it.
I definitely will tell you if it's good, because it's probably going to be good, because it's fucking Castlevania, and it's Netflix.
And try and compare it to another anime that I might have seen.
I'll probably have to compare it to something like Hellsing, honestly.
Well,
Did you watch the other thing that was drawn by the guy who did Hellsing?
No.
Oh, man, I'll find it for you, because I know it's on, like, Crunchyroll, and that shit's awesome. It's about a guy in samurai times who dies, and then he wakes up in this other fucking fantasy world, and he meets, like, Oda Nobunaga, and he's like, whoa, you died, like, 5 years ago. And he's like, what? No, I've only been here for, like, a year and a half.
Interesting.
Fucking crazy.
In the last 24 hours, I cared about American Gods.
I haven't started watching that.
Well, I won't spoil anything for you, but
starting that for goddamn Game of Thrones.
So, hang on. So, Adam has been wanting me to watch American Gods for quite some time, and the thing
sounds familiar. Except with something else.
Shut the fuck up for a second. The thing is that if I'm not interested in watching something, an easy way to get me to watch it is to come over and watch it with me. Like, be like, sit down, we're fucking watching this right now. And I'm like, okay. So Adam's sister is in town. She's up here on vacation. And apparently American Gods was a book written in like 2001. And it's just now recently got its first season of the television show that's airing on Stars. And apparently it's both him and his sister's favorite book. It's their favorite show. They're like, oh my God, American Gods, American Gods, American Gods, American Gods. Okay? And so, like, he had been, like, wanting me to watch and finally they just came over yesterday to watch the first episode with me and Jennifer. I felt so bad because, like, we watched the whole first 1 hour episode and then, like, they were talking about it, which, like, anyway, like, him and his sister were talking about it and then they were talking about it with Jennifer and they're like, so, Michael, what'd you think about it? And I just looked at him and I was like, I fucking hated it. Like, I absolutely hated it. Like, I thought it was terrible. Like, one really good purpose for that show, put it in a cinematography class. There were some beautifully done scenes. Like, whoever's the director of that movie, that dude needs to make something, like, else, because he's very talented. But, oh my god, is that show boring. Like, I was bored.
You watched one episode, though, right?
I watched the first episode, and realistically, the first episode of something should hook you hard. And I was just so bored the whole time. Like, if it was me watching it alone, I would have turned it off after 20 minutes has passed. Like, I would have been like, well, this sucks, and turned it off. And by the end of it, I hated it even more than the first 20 minutes. And, like, I feel like I actually, like, somewhat offended Adam and his sister. They were so taken aback because I just despised the show. And Jennifer told me, though, much to your chagrin, that she's watched a decent amount of Game of Thrones. And she told me that if I did not like American Gods, it is almost guaranteed that I would not like Game of Thrones, because she saw a very large number of similarities in them.
You really disappoint me more and more, Michael.
That's fine. That's what I live for, is to disappoint you.
Damn. I need you to not be disappointing so that you can finally die.
Do I have to be disappointing to die?
No, you have to be not disappointing. Appointing?
What? Is
you have
that
to be
a word?
the opposite of disappointing. I have to be proud of you for you to die.
I'm sorry, Nathan. I don't know if that'll ever happen. I know. It pains me too.
It's alright. No, wait. I'll find something.
Yeah, what are you gonna find?
You just have to wait.
Okay, that's fine. Well, either way. Nathan, it is Thursday. Do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about before we get ready to get out of here?
Nope.
I have a couple things, actually. One, I would like to give a big thank you to everyone that's in our chat room right now. You guys were very active. Like, we are constantly discussing things with you on the show, and that's wonderful and fun to do. And I like getting other people's opinions.
Holy shit.
What?
Stanley's wife died.
Who the fuck is Stanley?
Stanley.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was married.
Yeah.
Interesting. So thank you everyone in the chat room. Like, thank you to Zach and Tim and Kirk and Andrew. I appreciate you guys being in here and being part of the conversation. It's great to get other people's opinions, even if sometimes I'm just arguing with you. But I do appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I thank you very much for being here. And thank you as well to everyone who listens at home, watches us on YouTube. If you listen to us through iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, or any other podcatcher, thank you very much for listening to us. And also one big, humongous thank you to our patrons. And I'm going to pull up that Patreon list real quick there so that I can read those names off again, because I need to thank all of you real quick. View all current patrons. I love that they just added a button now. So real big, two massive thank yous to the Other White Mike and Kelly for supporting us at our $25 tier. Thank you to Risa, Brionna, and Brittany, and as well as Christopher. Thank you very much to all of you for supporting us on Patreon. It helped. Literally, I will tell you straight up, this month it funded the show. Like, straight up, it paid for the show. So if you would like to help support the show and help us do more things, like we would like to do more episodes each week and things along those lines, please go to patreon.com/dailyinternet. Otherwise, I already mentioned all the other places you can find the show. Follow us on social media. We go live on Facebook Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time, 7 p.m. West Coast, 10 p.m. East Coast. Otherwise, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram as well. All of those are at iReaditCast. I'm at Schwahn Michael on almost all social media. Nathan is at Bimmenstein on almost all social media. So just follow us, hit us up, talk about whatever you want. If you want us to talk about something, it doesn't, like, we always grab news in the last 24 hours because it's current news. It's what's happened recently, and that's, once it's old news becomes old very quickly. Mm-hmm. But if you guys want us to talk about something, even if it's from 6 months ago, let us know. We'll happily talk about it. You can send it to us via email, which is feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. Or you can just call and leave us a voicemail at 508-738-2278. So thank you very much, everybody. This is Thursday, so it means we will not be back until Monday. If you would like to change that, then once again, patreon.com/dailyinternet. Everybody, that is your 318th dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwahn.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody.
Don't get twisted!
And Tim, yes, we did talk about the USS Franklin. Only once, though. But, I mean, unless some new news has come up on it. But right now we've only talked about it the one time. So, and it was, we talked about the event itself and then the claims of the other vessel about the warning and the apparently ignored warning of the USS Franklin side. If there is additional details, though, just go ahead and just like...
Jesus Christ, the creator of the Futurama theme song also died.
Stop dying, people. We don't need 2017 to be a repeat of 2016.
I mean, it was 89 and 93, respectively.
In so many ways, we need 2017 to not be like 2016. Oh, my God. Okay, now seriously, goodbye. We're leaving now. Goodbye.